Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Uh, Today our subject is General Science and it is lecture number 23, and we will discuss about parts and structure of plant cells. The outlines of the lectures are: first of all, introduction about the main topic, and then we will study about structure of plant cell, and then main part of the plant cells, and then explanation of each part. First of all, structure of plant cells. We must know that just like humans and other living organisms, plants also have cells. But these cells are somewhat different from the human cells and also from the animal cells. This presentation will explain about the structure of plant cells. The plant cells have various parts. Here you can observe that filamentous cytoskeleton, then small membranous vesicles, then smooth endoplasmic reticulum and ribosomes, then nuclear pore, nuclear envelope, nucleus, rough endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi body, Golgi vesicles, cytoplasm, peroxisomes, and mitochondrion, and vacuole, tonoplast, and so on. So these are all basically the different parts of a plant cells. Plant cell or the basic unit of life in the organisms of the kingdom plantain. They are eukaryotic cells which have a true nucleus along with the specialized structures called organelles that carry out different functions. Plant cells have special organelles called chloroplast, which creates sugars via photosynthesis. Plant cells have certain distinguishing features, including chloroplast, cell walls, and intracellular vacuoles. Photosynthesis takes place in chloroplast. Then cell walls allow plants to have strong upright structures, and vacuoles help regulate how cells handle water and storage of other molecules. Then a cell consists of three parts: the cell membrane, the nucleus, and between the two, the cytoplasm. So within the cytoplasms lie intricate arrangements of fine fibers and hundreds or even thousands of minuscule but distinct structures called organelles. Then, what are the main parts of the plant cells? The main part of the plant cells are cytoplasms, nucleus, cell membrane, cell wall, chromosomes, plasmodesmata, and filamentous cytoskeleton. So first of all, we see its first part, that is cytoplasm. This is just like the jelly. Like substance present between the cell membrane and nucleus is known as cytoplasms. Various other components are there, or organelles of cells are present in the cytoplasm. So these are mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes, and vacuoles, peroxisomes, etc. The cytoplasm is about 80% water and usually colorless. In cell biology, the cytoplasm is all of the material within a cell, enclosed by the cell membrane, except for the cell nucleus. The material inside the nucleus and contained within the nucleus membrane is termed the nucleoplasms. The main components of the cytoplasms are cytosols. This is just a gel-like substance. The organelles, and that is the cell's internal substructures, and various cytoplasmic enclosures. The cytoplasm is about 80% water and usually colorless, and we have this studied. The submicroscopic ground cell substance or cytoplasmic matrix, which remain after exclusion the cell organelles and particles, is ground plasm. It is hyaloplasms of light microscopy and a high complex polyphasic system in which all the resolvable cytoplasmic elements of are suspended, including the larger organelles such as the ribosomes, mitochondria, the plant plastids, lipid droplets, and vacuoles. So, most cellular activities take place within the cytoplasms, such as many metabolic pathways, including glycolysis and processes such as cell division, the concentrated inner area that is called endoplasm, and the outer layer is called the cell cortex or the ectoplasm. The movement of calcium ions in and out of the cytoplasm is a signaling activity for metabolic process. In plants, movement of the cytoplasm around vacuoles, that is known as cytoplasmic streaming. Then the next one is nucleus. The nucleus is a membrane enclosed organelle found in eukaryotic cells. The nucleus is generally spherical and located in the central of the cell. The nucleus contains thread like structures called chromosomes which carry genes, and gene is a unit of inheritance in living organisms. The function of nucleus is to maintain the integrity of these genes and to control the activities of the cells by regulating gene expressions. The nucleus is therefore the control center of the cell. The main structures making up the nucleus are nuclear envelope, a double membrane that encloses the entire organelle and isolates its content from the cellular cytoplasm. The nucleus and nuclear pores regulate the transport of molecules across the envelope, and the nucleus is a smaller spherical body in the nucleus. In cell biology, the nucleus, from Latin nucleus or nucleus, meaning kernel or seed. This is a membrane bound organelle found in eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells usually have a single nucleus, but a few cell types such as mammalian red blood cells have no nuclei, and few others including osteoclasts have many. The main structures making up the nucleus are the nuclear envelope, the double membrane that encloses the entire organelle and isolates its content from the cellular cytoplasms, and the nuclear matrix which includes the nuclear lamina or network with the nucleus that adds mechanical support, much like the cytoskeleton supports the cell as a whole. So the cell nucleus contains all cells genomes except for the small fraction of mitochondria DNA organized as multiple long linear DNA molecules in a complex with a large variety of proteins such as histones to form chromosomes. The genes within these chromosomes are structured in such a way to promote cell functions. The nucleus maintains the integrity of genes and controls the activity of the cells by regulating genes expressions. The nucleus is therefore the control center of the cells. Because the nucleus is a nuclear envelope is impermeable to large molecules. Nuclear pores are required to regulate nuclear transports of molecules across the envelope, and the pores cross both nuclear membranes, providing a channel through which a larger molecules must be actively transported by carrier proteins while allowing free movements of small molecules and ions. So movement of large molecules such as protein and RNA through the pores is required for both gene expression and the maintenance of chromosomes. Although the interior of the nucleus doesn't contain any membrane bound subcompartment, its contents are not uniform, and a number of nuclear bodies exist, so made up of unique proteins, RNA molecules, and particular parts of the chromosomes. So the best known of these is the nucleus, which is mainly involved in the assembly of ribosomes. So after being produced in the nucleus, ribosomes are exported to the cytoplasms where they translate mRNA. So this is the structure of nucleus. Then comes cell membrane. The cytoplasm and the nucleus and the other part of the cells are enclosed within the cell membrane, which separates cells from one another and also the cells from the surrounding medium. The membrane is porous and allows the movement of substances or materials both inward and outward. The yellow outlines in this diagram is the cell membrane. The cell membrane, also known as the plasma membrane or cytoplasmic membrane, and historically referred to as the plasmalemma. So this is the semi-permeable membrane of a cell that surrounds and encloses its content of cytoplasms and nucleoplasms. So the cell membrane separates the cells from the surrounding interstitial fluid, the main components of the extracellular fluid, and the cell membrane consists of a lipid bilayer including cholesterol, and that is a lipid component that sits between phospholipids to maintain their fluidity at various temperatures. So the membrane also contains membrane proteins, including integral proteins that go across the membrane serving as membrane transporters, and peripheral proteins that loosely attach to the outers, peripheral sides of the cell's membrane, acting as enzymes shaping the cells, and the cell membranes control the movement of substances in and out of the cells and organelles. So in this way, it is collectively permeable to ions and organic molecules. So in addition, cell membranes are involved in a variety of cellular processes such as cell adhesions, ion conductivity, and cell signaling, and serves as the attachment surface for several extracellular structures, including the cell walls, the carbohydrate layer called the glycocalyx, and the intracellular network of protein fibers called the cytoskeleton. So, in the field of synthetic biology, cell membranes can be artificially resembled. Other thing is the other part is that is cell wall. The cell wall is a very tough, flexible, and sometimes fairly rigid layer that surrounds plant cells. So it surrounds the cell membrane and provide these cells with structure, supports, and protein. So in addition, the cell wall is acting as a filtering mechanism. So a major function of the cell wall is to act as a pressure vessels, preventing over expansions when water enters the cell. So the green outline in this diagram is the cell wall. Now, if we explain it, then a cell wall is a structural layer surrounded some types of cells just outside the cell membrane. So it can be tough, flexible, and sometimes rigid. The composition of cell walls varies between species and may depend on cell type and developmental stage. The primary cell wall of land plants is composed of the polysaccharides, cellulose, hemicelluloses, and pectin. So often other polymers such as lignin, serine, and cutin are anchored to be embedded in a plant cell walls. Algae possesses cell walls made up of glycoproteins and polysaccharides such as carrageenans and agar that are absorbed absent from the land plants. So in bacteria, the cell wall is composed of peptidoglycans and the cell wall may be formed of glycoproteins and S layers and so on. So fungi possess cells wall made up of the N acetyl glucosamines, polymers, and chitins, and usually diatoms have a cell wall composed of biogenetic silica. Then the other part is chromosomes. In eukaryotic nucleus, chromosomes are packaged by proteins into a condensed structure called chromatin. So this allows the very long DNA molecules to fit into the cell's nucleus. So the chromosomes are even more condensed than chromatin and or an essential unit for cellular divisions. The chromosomes is a long DNA molecule with the part of all the genetic material of an organism. So most eukaryotic chromosomes include packaging proteins and called histones, which added by Jefferson's proteins and bind to and condense the DNA molecules to maintain its integrity. So these chromosomes display a complex three-dimensional structure which plays a significant role in the transcriptional regulation. So chromosomes are normally visible under a light microscopes only during the metaphase of cell division. So where all chromosomes are aligned in the center of the cells in the condensed form. So before this happens, each chromosome is duplicated like S phase, and both copies are joined by the centromere. So resulting either in an X-shaped structure, and if the centromere is located equatorially, or two-arm structure. So if the centromere is located distally, so the giant copies are now called sister chromatids. So during metaphase, the X-shaped structure is called the metaphase chromosomes, which is highly condensed and thus easiest to distinguish the study. In animal cells, chromosomes reach their highest compactions level in anaphase during chromosomes segregations. Then plasmodesmata or microscopic channel which allows molecules to travel between plant cells. Unlike animal cells, every plant cell is surrounded by a cell wall, and neighboring plant cells are therefore separated by a pair of cell walls, forming an extracellular domain known as the apoplast, and all those cell walls allow small soluble proteins and other solutes to pass through them, and plasmodesmata enable direct regulated symplastic cellular transport of substances between cells. The other part is filamentous cytoskeleton. The filamentous cytoskeleton is a network of fibers composed of proteins contained within a cell cytoplasm. So it is a dynamic structure, parts of which are constantly destroyed, renewed or newly constructed. So here is a multitude of functions the cytoskeleton can perform. It gives the cells shape and mechanical resistance to deformation. It stabilizes entire tissues. It can actively contract, thereby deforming the cell and the cell's environment and allowing cells to migrate. It divides chromosomes. It is involved in the division of mother cells into two daughter cells, and the function which this cytoskeletons can perform depends on the types of cells and the organisms. So this is filamentous cytoskeleton. So this is a complex dynamic network of interlinking protein filaments present in the cytoplasm of all cells, including bacteria and archaea. So it extends from the cell nucleus to the cell membrane and is composed of similar proteins in the various organisms. So this is all about this lecture. Take care. Allah Hafiz.